Season is nearly here, which means millions of people will be heading for national parks and national forests. As it turns out, a few of them won't be coming back.
Each year, hundreds of people are reported missing in our parks and forests. Most are eventually found, but there's a smaller category of cases that never get solved, including a few close to home.
It's not a revelation to say that people get lost out in the wilderness or in forest areas. We're talking about a different kind of mystery, though. Disappearances that are not caused by predator attacks or criminals hiding out there in the woods or just bad luck. A former cop has put together hundreds of case files regarding clusters of missing persons in national parks where the circumstances are flat out strange. But don't expect any answers from the Park Service. About people who vanish in national parks, places like Yosemite, but also national forests, including the Toyabe, west of Las Vegas. Individual cases are strange enough, but stranger still were the reactions of federal agencies. The people who vanish often do so right under the noses of others, in many cases of kids, their parents' noses. The missing defy logic. They hike uphill, for instance, often steep climbs. Children as young as 2 or 3 are found a day or two later many miles away and over mountain ranges. Weird things happen to their clothing. The missing often shed their clothes right away, even in bad weather. Clothes are found sometimes neatly folded, but not the people. The missing defy normal search and rescue practices. Bodies are found in places that are all but inaccessible, or they're found in the open, in areas that were repeatedly searched earlier. Bloodhounds or other tracker dogs are often befuddled. Nevada doesn't have a major cluster, but it has plenty of cases. Children who vanished around Lake Tahoe, in the center of the state near Tonopah, and at Mount Charleston. In 1966, 6-year-old Larry Jeffrey of Henderson disappeared while playing with his 2 brothers, setting off a massive 16-day search by as many as 1,000 men. Former Sheriff Ralph Lamb remembers it clearly.
Walked away from camp. Never did hear from him, never did see him, never did find him. We had hundreds of people there working, almost shoulder to shoulder.
State police were searching the woods this morning, and they have discovered a body.
The National Park Service doesn't keep sufficient records on the vanishings of people in our national parks, and in fact, it appears to be hiding this information from the public. Strangely, a big percentage of these disappearances have clues in common: huckleberries, dogs, swamps, and bad weather. Most of those who have disappeared are children, ages 20 months to 12 years, and elderly, ages 74 to 85. Not one person carrying a firearm and a transponder has disappeared. Typically, a search is initiated and run for about 10 days, then dropped. 50% of the children who go missing are found dead, and the ones who are found miles away from where they disappeared, in areas seemingly impossible for them to have gone to on their own. The majority of children who have disappeared had dogs with them, and in some cases the dogs returned, but the children never did. Children found alive won't talk about their experiences or say they don't remember what happened to them. They're found usually running a low-grade fever and appear traumatized. In all cases, the parents say the child was right behind them when they disappeared. Usually, the children are wearing bright, colorful clothing when they disappear, and even if they are found miles away without the shoes they were wearing, their feet are not scratched or bruised. Yosemite National Park, with 40 to 45 cases, has the largest cluster of vanishings, and oddly, in most areas where the disappearances have occurred, huckleberries are almost always in great abundance. Many of the areas that people have disappeared from carry such names as Devil's Gulch, Devil's Lookout, Twin Devil Lake, and Devil's Punch Bowl, perhaps named to reflect the evil people have sensed in these places over time. In 95% of the cases, bad weather strangely follows a disappearance, washing out footprints and other clues and making it impossible to carry on a search until the weather clears. In 98 to 99% of the cases, tracking dogs are unable to find a scent or simply refuse to track. Almost 98% of the disappearances occur in the afternoon. Searchers have been known to cover an area over 100 times, only to later find the person, alive or dead, in the same area they have searched before. The FBI refuses to give any information on the disappearance of another small 2-year-old boy who disappeared in Yosemite National Park in 1957. In that case, the boy simply vanished as he walked around the perimeter of his family's campsite. Bloodhounds and hundreds of people search for him. Young girls also disappear in the national parks. In Yosemite in 1981, a 14-year-old girl was backpacking on horseback with her parents and a group of people up 9,200 feet to Sunrise High Sierra Camp. When they stopped to rest, the girl asked if she could go with a 70-year-old man on the trip 50 feet away to take some photos. The old man sat down on a log and the girl went to the edge of the cliff to take a photo of the lake down below. She walked down the hill and never came back. In another more recent Yosemite case, a young woman was found dead at the bottom of a high cliff from where it seemed she had been flung. It was determined after that she had been raped. In few cases, Green Berets have surprisingly shown up to join and or take over searches. This happened in 1971 in Newcomb, New York, when an 8-year-old boy vanished while walking back to a lodge to change his clothes. His scent was lost in a swamp where he was never found. One of the most unusual cases is that of a 6-year-old boy who disappeared in 1969 in the Great Smoky Mountains. 2 families with the last name of Martin happened upon each other, and their 2 sons began playing hide and seek in the nearby bushes. When the parents called the boys into camp and one didn't return, the boy's father went to find help. A rainstorm began as he ran down the hill. At the same time, further down the hill, another family with the last name of Key heard a sickening scream, and they looked up to see what they thought at first was a man hiding in the bushes. The boy's father reached the valley and called the FBI to meet him at the park, but the agent told him to meet them at another location, which made no sense. The Green Berets showed up again and took over the search completely. Meanwhile, Mr. Martin stayed in the park 2 months looking for his son, who was never found. An independent researcher went and met with Mr. Martin, the father. He told the researcher that when the Key family spotted the man in the bushes, he or it was carrying something on its shoulder. However, none of this information the Key family provided was included in the FBI report. The researcher was told during his investigation of the case that some wild men lived in the park and that the Park Service had not been able to control them. 12 other people have disappeared in the same area, and the FBI agent monitoring those cases allegedly committed suicide. The phenomenon is not limited to the USA either. In the Philippines, many people have disappeared, most never returning. When visitors go there, they're told that they must not wear colorful clothing into the jungle. The bright colors seem to attract whatever it is that takes people.
Other aspects of this mystery are even more bizarre, though difficult to explain in just a couple of minutes. Example, many of the vanished who are found alive are kids too young to speak or kids who can't communicate because of disabilities. Some who are found alive say they can't remember what happened to them. A month ago, we asked the Park Service and the Forest Service for their lists of local missing persons cases. Still waiting. We have links and more information about all this stuff on our website. Check it out.